All right. Hey, party at the Moon Tower. Why don't you drop the gigs and come join me? Actually, I'm not going to a Moon Tower party. I'm going to a movie with myself. Haha. This is awkward. But I am going to see a movie, a new historical Civil War era drama with the McConaughey. And I'm dying to see whether or not the Free State of Jones continues the McConaissance. My God, who comes up with these phrases? Oh my God. Alright gang, I just got out of the Free State of Jones. Now for those that are really unfamiliar with it, it is a fact-based film that's sort of set in multiple time periods, but it ostensibly takes place in the 1860s, and it's about a guy named Newton Knight, who's played by the McConaughey, who was a Confederate medic slash nurse who did participate in the Civil War, during which time he decided that he was going to basically abandon the Confederacy. He went on the run, and he eventually started an armed rebellion, which was also a mixed culture and mixed race rebellion against the Confederate troops. So that's sort of the historical backstory to the film. Now, as for the film itself, you know, it really made me think of Matthew McConaughey's career as a whole, and it makes for an interesting case study on its own, because when you really look at McConaughey's career, he's really run the gambit. Like, he really started earnestly in like low budget independent fare like Dazed and Confused, and then he eventually went on to star in some really noteworthy dramas. Like, he was in the legal thriller A Time to Kill, then he was in films like Amistad. He's really no stranger to participating in fact-based historical dramas. Things sort of kind of really fell apart for him in the 2000s, where he was just doing one regrettable and bad romantic comedy after another, and then that's when the McConaissance started, and he had like Oscar-winning turns in films like Dallas Buyers Club, and then he followed that up with incredible performances in movies like Mud. What other films come to mind? Oh, Killer Joe, the mercilessly lurid Killer Joe. You really owe it to yourself to see that movie at least once. He really needs to make more movies that involve a post-apocalyptic hellscape and fighting dragons. That's right. Having said that, the one great thing about Free State of Jones is that McConaughey really delivers another, tour de force performance of real intensity. And again, he has this proverbial it factor. It's sort of really hard to encapsulate. I guess if you could capture it in a bottle and drink it yourself, every actor would have it, but McConaughey has it. He really is the performer that really holds this entire enterprise together. All the other sort of performance dominoes fall into place. He's really flanked by some really good supporting performances, and I am gonna butcher these names because I'm going by memory. Gugu Mbatha Raw. Oh man, I'm hoping I'm getting that name right. She delivers really strong and impassioned work, and there's also Mayor Shala Ali, also a very serenely powerful performance. The film was directed by Gary Ross, and for those that don't remember Gary Ross really began his career writing films. A lot of people forgot that he wrote 1988's Big, and then he followed that up with other comedic films as a screenwriter. He wrote the Kevin Kline comedy Dave, and then he made his directorial debut with one of the really truly underrated films of the 90s in Pleasantville. I just love Pleasantville to death. And he also went on to direct the Academy Award nominated Seabiscuit. So Gary Ross, he's infatuated with the past, which is really quite fascinating. But then after 2003 in Seabiscuit, he just completely fell off the directorial map. He didn't really make anything. And then he came back and directed the first Hunger Games installment. And I would maybe argue that that might have been the weakest entry in the entire series. And Gary Ross's unique sort of directorial flair and personality didn't really come through in that film at all. This sort of takes me to maybe some of the problems that I had with Free State of Jones. There is absolutely no question that this film has a lot of fascinating thematic material to it. And it speaks towards a lot about Civil War era race relations, post-Civil War race relations. It also has some discrete messages about the 99% versus the 1% in terms of wealth disparity in the country. These are all, very topical and relevant themes that sort of have almost a contemporary slant to them, despite the fact that the film is ostensibly a historical drama. So I kind of like that. The film's, again, it's very noble-minded. It has its heart really in the right place. The film's attention to period decor and its whole production artifice and aesthetic is really quite well done. I don't think Matthew McConaughey and the other, I don't think he's ever looked as dirty and disheveled as he has in this film. So the film's look is spot on. But I gotta say, on a level of momentum, this film really suffers. It has a real sluggish, like almost elephantine pacing. The screenplay also really awkwardly rickshaws between its 1860s setting, and then it flash forwards 80 plus years to this court case that does have ties to Newton Knight's story. That alone could have made for a fascinating film in its own right, and it really seems awkwardly shoehorned into this film, and it really creates this discordant pattern, and it really affects the forward drive of the film, and it's just sort of haphazardly sprinkled in, and the editorial choices really didn't make a lot of sense for me. Another thing too, Gary Ross certainly is not a director that has an affinity for action, and I really don't think he harnesses the film's few action scenes really well. He's very good at intimate character-related moments. There's one sequence involving two characters in a church, and that involves a kill that is sort of really quietly powerful and intense. But it's so odd that like the larger battle skirmishes in the film, they just don't really pack a punch. The film's final third, its third act, it's really kind of all over the map. I think the film so much really struggles with trying to figure out what type of identity it really has, what kind of story it really wants to tell. I think it's trying to tell way too many stories over the course of an already long 2-hour and 15-minute film, and I think that really hurts it overall. I guess by the end, when the credits rolled by, I felt more exhausted than dramatically moved, and it's really kind of a shame because The Free State of Jones is a film that contains an embarrassment of performance riches, and I would say this, it continues the McConaissance in terms of really incredibly impactful and strong Matthew McConaughey performances. He has a great supporting cast. The film looks good, and again, it has a very well-meaning storyline and thematic undercurrent, but it just didn't hold together in the way that I really wanted it to. I find I'm at a difficult crossroads because I almost feel like I should recommend it, but maybe as a rental, I just can't justify you spending $12+ of your money to see this film. So there you have it. So let me know what you thought of The Free State of Jones in the comments. Also, let me know what some of your favorite Matthew McConaughey films are. Let me know if you're thinking that The Free State of Jones continues the McConaissance. Let me know what you think about the career of Gary Ross. And also, don't forget to like this video, and if you could subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. So I'll see you on the flip side, everybody, and I'll see you at the movies.
You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
That is all. Carry on.